Hello, world. Welcome to the 280th climate change emergency protest. Hopefully, my microphone is on. I'm on the back porch, still puppy sitting and everything. So it's been an adventure. We have Moxie, and she's now 14 weeks old coming up, and Luna is 6.5 years old. So I'm kind of busy with that. So it's been a whole thing. Come on, girl, jump up. Pretty good for a 14-month old or 14-week old. So USA, I talked about this before, but some of you had never heard this talk before, so I'm going to bring it to you. USA is number one in oil production for the world, produce the most oil any country has ever produced in the history of the world, and we did that in 2023. We're also the number one gas production, meaning methane, natural gas, which is a horrible greenhouse gas, even 80 times worse over 20 years than is oil for greenhouse trapping effect. Um, New projects are being planned by the Biden administration for more and more drilling. So this idea that this guy is a climate change president or he's a renewable president, well, all the offsets of the Inflation Reduction Act that he's been supposedly proposing for electrification of cars and things like that are being counteracted by all this oil production, all this methane gas production. So we're going backwards, not forwards, as far as climate change goes, and it's reflected in the carbon dioxide levels. Right now, carbon dioxide is pushing 425 parts per million. I've seen Mauna Loa has been offline. They're the ones that do the calculating, and they've been offline since March 29th. And it's amazing they're always offline when things start getting out of control. And I've seen hourly assessments have been in the 431s, 430. I'm sorry, yeah, 431, 432 parts per million, not just 425. So we got some real issues going on, and the average public doesn't know anything about this. And I'm probably speaking to a lot of you, and not you don't understand what's happening. It's just wrong what's going on, and we're basically nailing our own coffin shut with these Republicans and Democrats here in the United States in charge, as well as whatever parties in England and the parties in Germany and everything. You're doing everything wrong as far as climate change goes, and also as far as genocide being committed by Israel. It's just a horrible situation, what is happening. And we can make better choices in this. You're a voter. And I keep hearing from people going, oh, the other party can't win because you don't. Well, you know what? There's 100 million people alone didn't vote in the last election in the United States. That would easily win the election for someone in another party, a third party, let alone all the people that should bail out of the Democrat Party right now and get into the Green Party. It's insanity what's happening. They say vote blue because they're scared to death of Trump, and then the Trump people are scared to death of Biden. You're both wrong. Okay, we're in the same boat. We're gonna die if we don't get this under control with this climate change thing. And I suspect it's way past the ability to control it. But at least try to make an effort. This is ridiculous. You're worried about your shoe being untied. Meanwhile, there's a whole lightning storm coming at you, and you're not taking shelter. Or there's a tiger coming at you, and you're worried about what color pants you have on today. That's essentially it. Rather than running and doing the right thing, what's needed to be done to get things done, you're worried about the color of your pants rather than the impending disaster coming. The Republicans deny here in this country. The Democrats, obviously, by their actions, are having de facto denial because as Joe Biden, Genocide Joe, Ecocide Joe, and Crazy Don, and the other party are doing actions that will kill us. Okay, their policies are going to kill us. I don't care whether they change right now or not. They don't deserve to be in power. They have lost any sort of desire, any sort of award for getting your vote. Okay, they don't own your vote. You're an independent person, I would think, unless you're an automatron. Then why bother vote at all? Just check whatever and just go on with your life. Check it forever. Make it a lifetime blue check, lifetime red check, and just go on with your what's left of your life. But otherwise, you're a thinking human being, and things are going wrong in this country. Things are going wrong around the world. Things are happening right now, and it shouldn't be happening. And it's you making bad choices. You're listening to your network news rather than going onto YouTube and checking out alternative news, independent news organizations that are reporting what's happening, and they have the facts as to what's happening. And you're being propagandized by these three news networks as well as Fox Television in this country. ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox Television. It's a propaganda network, one side or the other, what's going on. And you don't even know what's happening. You really, really, really don't know what's happening in the world. So, I've been telling people, giving them facts about everything. I'm going to continue giving facts. You're not going to listen, and it's not going to make a difference. Okay, so Biden, in addition to new projects being planned for oil and drilling, get it? Yeah, these projects aren't ending. They're building more and more projects. They're proposing more projects. They're planning more projects for oil and gas production. Biden has produced or authorized 2 times the amount of permits on federal land than Donald Trump did in his term in office. Do you understand this? Twice the amount of federal permits on federal land for oil and gas drilling than Donald Trump, the horrible climate change asshole that was in charge beforehand. So you're not understanding, this guy is not on your side. His whole career has been nothing but monstrous decisions. Emission reductions from the Inflation Reduction Act, as I said, are being surpassed by Biden's fossil fuel projects. It doesn't matter what he does with all these little proposals with the Inflation Reduction Act. These fossil fuel projects are going to kill us. There's no plan to address greenhouse gas, water pollution, air pollution from the USA's major emissions. We're horrible. We're doing terrible things. We're number one in the world, gas and oil. Don't try to pretend that it's China or someone else doing whatever they're doing. Take care of your home lane first, then worry about the other countries. And right now we're making bad decisions. The voters are idiots. They're voting wrong. They're voting against their own survival. They're voting against their own children's survival. Electrical production in this country, United States, is basically oil, gas, and coal. It's not solar or wind or any other proposals out there. You don't need giant solar farms. These houses could be equipped with solar shingles. The windows could have solar wires in them and have photovoltaic. As the sunlight comes in, it generates electricity. There's all sorts of things out there that we don't even know about yet that we could invent, and it's not happening. DuPont has invented the solar shingles. Every house should be required by law, when they replace their roof, they get totally a free roof, paid by the government, you, the taxpayers. Yeah, it's going to cost a lot, but it's going to save our lives in the long run. That stay on for 50 years and keep producing electricity the whole way. Right now, there are 600 ships that are shipping liquefied natural gas around the world, especially from the United States to Europe, because we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, get it, during the Ukrainian issue with the Russians, and now we're shipping oil or gas over there. Yeah, liquefied gas. It has to be cooled down to like 260 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 260 Fahrenheit. If it warms up any more than that, it goes kaboom, because instead of being liquefied, becomes a gas, and the containers can't hold it anymore. So it's a whole disaster waiting to happen. If someone sticks bleach in there or chlorine, you got a chlorine bomb done with natural gas. Do you understand this stuff? So this is ripe for terrorism, what's going on. There's no thought process as to what's happening. There's terrible issues involved with this natural gas issue that we're not taking on, and we need to stop that as well. Earth was going to have a leap second in 2026. The Earth's rotation was speeding up due to the core. It was speeding up 1 whole second every so many years. So they're going to have to factor that in. Well, now, with the melting of the glaciers from the North Pole and the South Pole, the water weight has gone from there to the oceans, and has actually slowed the rotation enough that they don't need a leap second until 2029 due to climate change. Well, my guess is the Earth is going to slow down even more, and they're going to have to do a leap second the other way and add on seconds to, or subtract seconds rather, because the Earth's rotation is slowing down. And that's a lot of weight to be able to slow the whole rotation of the Earth down. That's the Earth right now, or the Greenland is melting at a rate that is equal to 5,286 Empire State Buildings in weight going into the oceans every day. 5,286 Empire State Buildings in weight going into the ocean every day from the Greenland ice caps melting. Can you imagine 5,000 Empire State Buildings? So the World Meteorological Organization said this was 2023 was the warmest year on record. The hottest February that just had passed was the hottest February ever on record. The hottest year in the history of humans, probably 125,000 years. The hottest March that just passed, the hottest March on record. You're getting a theme here as to what's happening. So that's the warmest year on record. Ocean heat is the highest ever it's been since humans have, as far as I can figure what's going on. The Antarctic sea ice was the all-time low, which you lose albedo as well as blocking the glaciers from melting into the ocean. So it's a whole thing going on. The AMOC, which is a current that goes around the world, and then is the Atlantic Meridional overturning circulation. I can't ever say that right. Is slowing down, and they think that in the past they said, oh, it'd take centuries, millennia to slow down. Well, now they're thinking it could actually happen in a few years. And what would happen with that is that basically the northern sections of the world, 6 degrees north to 90 degrees north, 6 degrees south to 90 degrees south, will get colder. But the 60s in between, the 60 south to 60 north, the whole belt in there would actually warm up because the heat is no longer transferred. This is my theory, would stay in one area as far as that goes. The whole bottom of South America to up towards Norway and the north, around the whole world, would actually heat up, and it would be an untenable situation for survival for many of those in the equatorial areas. So you end up with a whole food issue. They can't produce food. Also, it'd be lethal to go outside at that point. The Amazon rainforest would just burn up to a cinder, end up being a desert. All sorts of things would happen in different directions that we can't anticipate. The oceans are too warm now to keep holding on to that 30 degrees of carbon storage that they've been in. Carbon dioxide, the oceans absorb 30% of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere all the time. So my guess is that with the oceans being warmer, warmer water holds less chemicals than does colder water, and it can't keep up this pace as to saving us that way. So the carbon dioxide, instead of going into the ocean now, will remain in the atmosphere, and the carbon dioxide level will keep accelerating, which will cause more heating, which will keep accelerating the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It's a round robin circle on that. It's a feedback loop. So 10,000 years, they thought with the AMOC slowing down, and they're saying that if it does slow down, and they're anticipating that at least 11% to 34% reduction in circulation by 2100. Subtract 70 years off of that or 60 years off of that, 2050, whatever, it'll probably be in that situation. By 2050, it will slow down some 34%. Uh, and this could be part of the massive jump in carbon dioxide because the oceans are so warm, as well as the permafrost thaw and oil production and natural gas production, courtesy of the USA and other countries. So 2050, there was a report saying that it's very bleak. We could pass 2 degrees Celsius by 2050, and I think it might actually happen earlier than that. They're always conservative in what they say. It's always worse than what they say and faster than what they say. They also said this about 1.5 degrees. We wouldn't pass that till the year 2100. Well, we've already passed it for this year. We're at 1.52 or whatever degrees Celsius above the 1880 baseline. And if you use the 1750 baseline, we're probably pushing 2 degrees Celsius already. And I'm thinking that's why we're seeing things spinning out of control so fast. 1880 baseline, they're saying is the start of the industrial era. That's a total lie. We already had the Civil War here 20 years earlier. How can you make all these cannons and shells and build houses and do all these cities and everything else 20 years before the start of the Industrial Revolution? So it's a total lie. It's a made up date. 1750 is when the actual Industrial Revolution started. So what can we anticipate if we hit 2 degrees Celsius? Well, London, for example, will be 104 degrees as a commonplace, 104 degrees Celsius Fahrenheit, which is 40 degrees Celsius for you people elsewhere. 45 degrees Celsius would be common or 113 degrees in Delhi, in India. You can look forward to power grid failures, heat stroke, dehydration of people when that happens, droughts, wildfires, asthma, water vapor, asthma issues due to the fires, happening around the world, which we saw this year in Canada with the wildfires happening. Water vapor increase due to the increased heat. Underweight babies, these things, side things that happen other than food and issues like that, things happen that you don't anticipate that are actually a cause of climate change and can and will happen. Underweight babies will lead to hospitals being overtaxed. They can't keep up with the pace. 2100 glacial disasters. It won't take till 2100 for glaciers to start melting by huge amounts. This heat has been here too long and it's lasting too long, and we have a built-in amount. I saw something that said the last time carbon dioxide levels were this high, that the temperatures in the atmosphere were actually 2 to 3 degrees Celsius higher than they are now. So you're looking at a 4.5, 5 degree increase in temperatures, not this 1.5, 2 degrees that they're talking about. There's a situation built into the pipeline now that's coming our way, and it's going to happen. And there's a lag time between carbon dioxide and the heat catching up. And we're looking right now back at the start of the iPhone era and the Chinese manufacturing and building a new coal plant every week, coming online. We are going to pay for this for that 20 years ago, 2005, 2004. As to what was happening with the massive manufacturing. And we haven't seen the massive effects of it yet. This is what's coming. You got leaders in charge that don't see this, don't want to acknowledge it, don't care about you. I mean, they're caring about making money, and they think they will jet off to New Zealand or somewhere. There's nowhere to hide on the planet. Everything's going to go way out of whack real quick, and then all of a sudden it's on us like a tiger, and you can't get it off at that point. Right now, the tiger has either on us or very close to us. You still have a slim chance to get away from it if there's some massive intervention, people with real forward thinking, people willing to say the truth as to what's going on. And the cost is going to be very, very high because we goofed off so long. We should have been doing this stuff 40 years ago. The cost is going to cost us an extreme amount, but the cost of not doing anything is astronomical as far as the cost goes. But the real cost is extinction and massive deaths and watching your friends and families suffer, things like that. So we're looking at a global disaster. New York City is going to have to build a 10-foot seawall if they're going to stay there. I would advise them to get the hell out of there and start building up in Harlem or whatever, was like 50 feet higher. Major cities flood. They're going to be wiped out by hurricanes. New York City is going to get wiped out eventually. Category 6 hurricanes are going to happen. Category 5s are bad enough, going to wipe everything out. They don't have a Category 6 listed. I predict that there will be a Category 6, especially when the AMOC shuts down and all this concentrated heat is there, and the Earth is trying to dissipate the heat through hurricanes. It's its natural way of getting rid of heat and transporting it elsewhere, and it won't be able to. It's going to be too hot for that. So major cities going to be in trouble. Island nations around the Pacific going to be wiped out, going to be flooded. Reefs are dead. They're dying. They're on their way out because it's too hot, too acidic. Ocean acidification is happening because the carbon dioxide becomes carbonic acid, which basically melts the seashell life around the world, as well as coral reefs. And the heat is a huge factor in killing coral reefs. Grocery prices, if you can afford food, it's going to be exorbitant. So most likely there's going to be massive starvation. Food will be out of reach as far as that goes. I don't know. You're going to have to ask the Gazans what to do and what they do, because right now the people in Gaza, they're eating grass or they're eating horse food or whatever they can get their hands on because they're being starved to death as a war crime. And that's the situation we're headed towards right now. Fiscal economic collapse, you're going to end up with people that just go broke. They can't afford to pay their taxes. Governments start not getting money in, and then all of a sudden you get an economic collapse as far as businesses go. You can't run a business if there's no customers. Then you get civil unrest. People don't have food, don't have shelter, don't have this, don't have that. You end up with a government collapse at that point. You have civil unrest, everyone for themselves. You think your government's going to be there for you. They have no plans right now to save you. They have plans to save themselves, if anything. Building bunkers below ground, getting ready to jet off to wherever. That only works as long as it works. So right now, your taxes in the United States, especially, we get taxed, and then as you do wherever you are, but we get taxed, and then there's this ecocide going on. All these things are called an ecocide, whereas they're deliberately killing us with their policies. The Biden policies, the Trump policies, the Obama policies, the Bush policies, things like that, drill baby drill. China's doing their digging coal out of the ground. Russia's doing the same thing. You got African nations want a middle-class life. This is ecocide. We're killing our own environment, and we're killing ourselves. We're killing our grandchildren. We're killing our children, and we're killing ourselves right this second. We're not going to last at this pace the way things are spinning out of control this fast. If you go down my page on Facebook, you can see the charts I've been posting as to how fast things are getting out of control. The heat, the oceans, everything else, the carbon dioxide, things like that. So right now, now you got a genocide. You got ecocide, you got a genocide in Gaza going on. The world will not do anything, get forward on climate change until we stop fighting ourselves. Wars need to stop at this point. So you got psychotic, sadistic, sick leaders in charge, and they're all for sale. They're willing to sell their souls and sell us out for money. There's no moral compass. They have no moral compass as to what's going on. If they did, this genocide occurring in Gaza would not have happened. If they do change their tune, it's only because they're worried about their jobs and they're worried they're going to get thrown out through the vote of people in this country. But my guess is they're safe because these voters, people I'm talking to, don't listen to the facts and what's happening, and they're going to continue to vote for Democrats and Republicans. So the ecocide and genocide will continue at a higher rate. Subsidies, they're continuing to issue subsidies and drilling for right now. They're drill, as I said, and they're doing drilling projects. So this is another example of the ecocide that's going on. The genocide in Gaza, more bombs. Biden's selling even more, giving more bombs, not even selling it to them. 1,800, 500-pound bombs or whatever, like 25 jet fighters to Israel. So they might propose a ceasefire, but they're doing things that keep stocking up weapons to Israel. The only way to stop this is to cut Israel off from funding, cut Israel off from trade. It's amazing. They cut Russia off from trade and sanction them. Israel's committing an outright genocide, and nothing's happening to them. We're giving them money. We're giving them $14 billion. We're giving them all these weapons, and yet they say we want a ceasefire. Total lie. So right now our government is totally racist, homicidal, psychopaths engaged in ethnic cleansing. You know, it's not the Israelis are doing it, but we're allowing them to do it by backing them up. So what do? Yeah, I recommend you get out of your parties right now. I said this before, get out of your parties right now. The Democrats, Republicans in this country, whatever country you're in, get out of the major parties because they're not helping you, and they're not going to help your children at all, and they're going to kill off your family and friends and everyone else. I recommend in this country, you get up after this talk's done, go to your computer, get out of the Democrat Party, get out of the Republican Party, register as independent, or my proposal is you register as Green Party because it's the only platform that is set up for survival. Robert Kennedy Jr. is running for president. He's all about the genocide in Israel. You got the libertarians who are all about suing people if things don't go the right way. It makes no sense at all. So you got to get out of your dogma. War crimes are being committed in your name, and you're doing it by voting for these people and not putting up a squawk. The genocide is being committed in your name, and it's on your blood's on your hands by staying in these parties. And the ecocide is in your name because these people are in charge, and you're voting for them, and you need to get out of these two parties. Policies of Kennedy are out to lunch. As I said, who's running for president? It's a genocide. Libertarians, they want to sue the government or sue neighbors or whatever if they do something wrong. It won't work. The court system's not set up in this country for that stuff, and it won't happen. And that's after the fact. The horse is already out of the barn. Then you're going to sue about the horse getting out of the barn. Again, Jill Stein is running Green Party president in 2024. I recommend you register in the Green Party on your computer. And if you look at the Green Party platform, it'll fit in, right? If you're listening to me, you at least got some sort of mindset that something's not right, that you want something better. Go to the Green Party platform in the United States and check out what they're all about. So I'll catch you next week. That'll be number 281, believe it or not. I should have stopped at number 1 and things should have been done right away. So this is number 281 coming up next week, and that'll be in mid-April, right after the eclipse.